Alright, I prepared everything now with my abilities, water abilities, the board, the arrows, and my plan. Let's fucking go. Yo guys, what's up? It's blul. I've been working on a new champion concept for League of Legends the last couple of days. My goal is just to share with you and present you the abilities and how he should work with like two cameras from top down here and from front view here. And I'm gonna run down what's his name, what does he look like, what does the champion do, and yeah, I'm gonna show you some references in League of Legends, how certain abilities are already implemented into the game. But I also want to introduce you to one new mechanic I came up with, and yeah, fucking go. Let's start with what's his name. Its name is gonna be Ayuul, which stands for danger in English. What does the champion look like? It's a mixture out of High Noon Ashe. Anybody who knows the skin knows that it's kind of like an archer, a horse archer, and that's also the concept of this champion. It's meant to be a kiting horse archer champion. So as references for the visuals, I have Hunns and Mongolian horse archers, and yeah, I don't know, maybe kind of like the villain from Mulan, the movie. It should be like, yeah, it should be a really bad guy, fighting everybody, but he should be also pretty vulnerable. He only has two damaging abilities, his Q and his ulti. Those deal instant damage, but his W can deal some damage as well. And I'm gonna show you how these abilities will work now. His Q is right here. I don't know if you will understand anything, but I will show it in the screen anyways. So his Q is Silent Arrow. Ayuul. Let's take this as Ayuul, okay? This is Ayuul. Just a horse. And what he's doing is he's shooting an arrow up in the air, and the arrow stays there for 3 seconds. And after 3 seconds, he can target a location and pull the arrow down. Just like that. Shoots the arrow, it stays there for 3 seconds, and he shoots the arrow down again at this target location. For that to understand, it has such a hitbox like that. You need to know what the passive of Ayuul is. Ayuul's passive is whenever Ayuul lands a silent arrow at an enemy champion, it adds +1 arrows to his salve. First 8 arrows are gonna fill up the orange area. The next 16 arrows are gonna complete the green area, which means you have to stack the Q, which is pretty exciting in my opinion, because I think there's not a champion at all that is stacking an ability, and by stacking this ability, he's kind of extending his ability. So I'm gonna show you how I mean that. Let's say you have an enemy right here, right? And you hit him with the arrow. I call this the bullseye. The red area is the bullseye, okay? The red area is the bullseye, and if you hit an enemy with that, you will get +1 arrow. So the next time you shoot an arrow, you shoot 2 arrows, but there will be 2 arrows going down, but the second arrow is gonna be in the orange area somewhere, right? It's gonna be maybe here. Okay, so this guy has to dodge the bullseye arrow and one of the orange arrows. So he's probably gonna dodge down here. If you don't hit him, you don't get an extra arrow, but if you hit, you will get an extra arrow the next time you shoot. And this arrow will probably appear somewhere around here. It's gotta be random, because if it's not random, it's too predictable. Yeah, let's say you shoot him 24 times and you have all the arrows, right? You have filled up all the arrows. You have 8 orange arrows, so it fills up the orange area first. After you hit all the orange arrows, you will fill up the green area. The next thing I'm gonna explain is what the certain areas will do to your ability. So if you hit somebody with the bullseye, with the red area, like in between in the middle, just imagine a kind of like the Seraph W? Yeah, like this W. So you want to hit it always with the bullseye. I'm just gonna read it out, okay? When an enemy champion is hit by the bullseye, he will get snared for 1.5 seconds, take a large amount of damage, scaling with 80 after any shield he has broke. Means this guy is shielded, right? Because he doesn't want to take a lot of damage. But if he shields himself, the shield is getting destroyed before he gets damage. Means it's a damage breaker ability if you hit somebody with the bullseye. The thing is, if you get shielded, you get the same damage as if you wouldn't have a shield. So it doesn't make any sense to shield this. That's the first counterplay you can have against this ability. Let's get to the orange area. The orange area. When an enemy champion is hit by the arrows in the orange area, which is maximum 8 orange arrows, so you only have to dodge like 8 arrows for the orange area, he gets slowed for 1.5 seconds and takes a medium amount of damage, scaling with 80. This orange area has no shield breaker like the red area, so you will get slowed and you get a medium amount of damage. The green area is when an enemy champion is hit by the arrows in the green area, which is maximum of 16 green arrows, he'll take a normal amount of damage without any scaling, just the base damage. I'm gonna show you the base damage. I think I went over 5 different champions, for example Jace or Quinn, which are kind of kiting top lane champions, but you can also play them on the bot lane or mid lane. So it's kind of a flex champion. These arrows have 12, 11, 11, 10, 7 cooldown. The snare duration is static 1.5. The slow duration of the orange circle is static 1.5 as well. And the bullseye damage is scaling heavily, as you can see. It's dealing not quite a lot of damage in the beginning compared to other champions' Qs, but the scaling in the late game is just super high. I'm not a professional guy when it comes to balancing, but I just put some extra percentages on top of. How's this ability animated? So I want it to be kind of like the hitbox will show like when Zac jumps, right? If Zac jumps a long distance, you will see the hitbox maybe 1 second before he arrives at the location he wants to jump at. And I want this with the arrows as well, so you can shoot them in the air. After 3 seconds you decide where you want it to land, and then the enemy has to quickly react to that. So he has to use a dodge or, I don't know, flash if he's low HP, something like that. The next thing is silent arrows. Cooldown is reset if Ayuul is inside of the red area when the arrows reaches the ground. That's pretty interesting, because you just have to imagine, right? Just imagine you shoot the arrow up, and your enemy, every time you're shooting it, the enemy is just backing off, and you waste mana like that. You can just bring it down into your position, so at least the cooldown is reset already. I don't know if it should refund the mana as well, because I feel like that would be too OP, but that's just in Riot's matter. I don't know how to balance that actually, because you have like a lot of resources, like the resource cores and all those things. I'm not quite sure if giving back mana to this ability would be a good thing to do. Should it? I feel like it would be too overpowered in the beginning, and they would nerf it or take it away anyways. So if you shoot it up, you can just bring it down to your location again to reset the cooldown and have it right away to continue poking, harassing your enemy. Let's get to the next point. Next point is gonna be he places traps. The traps are gonna be called Explosive Trap or Insidious Trap. Its visual should be like nails and a net trap with an explosive thing underneath it, kind of like this thingy. This is like this is from the side, this is from the top. I think you can kind of imagine it. This is Ayuul's trap, this is Caitlyn's trap, just for the sizes. Ayuul's trap is a little bit larger than Caitlyn's trap, like around the Teemo's traps, right? Teemo's rooms is probably as large as Ayuul's traps, and a little bit bigger than Caitlyn's traps, a little bit smaller than the Q's bullseye. This is pretty important because the traps are gonna be a little bit smaller than the bullseye, because you can basically shoot an arrow, snare your enemy, right? This guy is snared, and then you can run to him and place a trap underneath him. Just like Caitlyn does when Blitzcrank is grabbing her or something like that. And when you place a trap underneath him, he's instantly snared again, logically. That's what the trap is there for. The trap should also grant vision, not as big as the tea mushrooms, but kind of the same area vision, just a little bit smaller than the tea mushrooms. But if an enemy steps inside of a trap, he doesn't get any damage, not at all. Next thing, how do these traps work? Like, are they only there for vision and CC? No, of course not. Say you have a trap placed here, right? And an enemy steps into it and he doesn't know you're close. You will shoot an arrow. This guy is gonna be snared, and if the arrow sticks inside of the trap, it activates the trap's explosive thing. The trap can only explode and deal damage if you hit the trap with an arrow. It's lasting for 1.5 minutes at the maximum level. It's capped to a certain amount of traps, just like Caitlyn's capped, but it has more traps at level 7. It snares for 1.5 seconds, logically, and it's granting vision like the team mushroom, what I already said. Insidious Trap will explode in a radius of Silent Arrow's orange area. It gets activated and around your enemy it will explode. The explosion is as large as the orange area. The area will burn for the next 3 seconds, dealing percentage max HP as physical damage. You can imagine that just like if you stay inside the Shyvana E when she's an ultimate and shoots it at you. Kind of like that. The recharge time for the traps are 35, 35, 30, 30, 25. Why that high? That's because of the second part of Ayuul's passive. Second part of Ayuul's passive is, every time an enemy champion gets trapped inside of an Insidious Trap, its cooldown or the recharge time will permanently be decreased by -1 second down to a minimum of 5 seconds. This means, if you have the traps leveled up to level 5, you will have 25 cooldown. And this is not influenced by the ability haste, but only by your passive. If there's 20 people running into your traps in the whole game, or if you trap people with traps, you will have 5 seconds recharge time. So it's pretty common for you to just place traps. And in the late game, you will have 7 traps available, maximum. The beginning you will have 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, right? So this is pretty strong. You can also get a lot of vision by that. It has a lot of play potential. You can do a lot of different things with it. Okay, the trap duration, in the beginning they will last 15 seconds, 30, 45, 65, and in the end game they will last 90 seconds. So we'll have a lot of damage for a long time. It's kind of like a ward, but not as strong as a ward, obviously. The explosive damage, like the initial damage of the explosion, is dealing 50, 50, 100, 150, 250. I oriented myself on the Jin traps with the scaling. They're gonna scale with 50% AD and 100% AP. This gives the champion the chance, this gives Ayuul the chance to build AP or AD or a mixture out of that, right? Hybrid is pretty cool, I think, for the most flex champions, but it will also be dealt as physical damage, of course. The burn damage, however, is gonna be 1.5% max HP per second on the first level, and then it goes up until 3.5% max HP damage per second. So it deals a lot of fucking damage. I oriented myself with this on the brand burn damage and mixed with the Shyvana E burn damage when you stay inside. But the burning is only if you stay inside of this area, right? Only if you stay inside of this orange area. And it's also dealt as physical damage, of course. So, you will be able to make super sick plays with the next ability I'm gonna explain to you, and that's his E. It's the new mechanic I announced earlier, and I will explain to you now. The E is called Dodging Gallop. Imagine it something mixed out of the Hagrim's E and Klet's E. So it's a mixture out of a charge, but it's also kind of a movement speed you get until you reach your target location. So how does it work? You see this. You have Ayuul and the enemy. You're just gonna go like this, right? Obviously. But from the top. Wait, what's that? That's 3 different lines. What does that mean? So how I imagine the ability is kind of like, imagine your mouse cursor as a pencil. Kind of like Yumi's Q. When you have Yumi's Q, you have your mouse cursor like, whee, right? And that's pretty interesting. And I took that mechanic and went like, okay, what if we just press E and then we start drawing a line in about a second? So we put that here. This is our enemy. And we just start drawing a line. There's my mouse cursor. We start drawing a line towards our enemy. Let's say the enemy is Zerath, right? We draw the line, and then we enter the drawing by pressing on the target we want to go. So we just press on Zerath. After we drew the line, Ayuul starts to gallop into the target direction. Right? So we just go here. But it's not a dash, it's not just a movement speed, and it's not just going towards this target like Kled does. It's something mixed out of it, and I can't really explain how, so I just thought it was a gallop, like a short gallop. It should be a gap closer, so you get closer to your enemies. I explain it here again. The gallop should be a mixture of Hecarim's E and Kled's E, but not as long as Hecarim's E, which I meant by the time you can go and by the movement speed you get, and not as clunky as Kled's E, because Kled's E is kind of, it's not smooth, it doesn't look smooth. Hitting a silent arrow recharges one dodging gallop. Wait a minute, hitting a silent arrow is recharging one dodging gallop? That means if you hit this after casting the dodging gallop, you will get the dodging gallop back again? That's so cool! Imagine what you can do, what combos you could do. Imagine you shoot a silent arrow up. Right, it stays here for 3 seconds. You dodge gallop here, and then you hit him, and you have your dodging gallop back again. That's insane. You can also combine that with placing a trap underneath your enemy. And then, if you actually dodging gallop into the area where your arrow hits, in the red area here, then you will get back your silent arrow as well. So you have your dodging gallop and your silent arrow back again. And this enemy is still snared inside of the trap, so what you do is you cast your silent arrow again, it hits your enemy trapped, and you can just go out again if there's minions or anybody else here. The recharging time of dodging gallop is quite high, I would say. 18 seconds is a lot, maybe you have to put it a little bit higher, and the maximum gallops is 3 in the late game. So in the late game you can gap close a lot, since you are a horse archer. But what about these lines here? How is this meant? Like, you have to draw a line in about a second? Wait. Okay, wait, this is Zerath, right? And this is us. Every time you engage a Zerath, you kind of have to dodge his stun, right? So his stun is flying like this. Whoop. Beep. You can't just draw a straight line. But what you can do is, you can draw a line like this. And that in the charge, you just make a curve around his stun. His stun will fly by and you dodged it inside of your drawing. Which, in my opinion, is pretty fucking nice, because this has a really high skill cap. You can basically learn to draw a line against every single champion you want to engage. You can do this with, I don't fucking know, with every single ability. You can just dodge it by knowing the timing and how you have to draw the line. Imagine this is an Ashe, right? Ashe is going like, he's shooting, but it takes longer for Ashe to cast the ult, so you basically don't have to go as quickly around here, or maybe you can go up here, or maybe you can do it like this. I don't know, there's so many possibilities. Alright guys, I have quite some scenarios for you that are possible with the ult. I'm just gonna read out how it works first. The R, Huree, which is a Mongolian war cry. Ayuul calls his horde of ghost horse archers and troops them around him. Just like this. This is Ayuul, ghost horse archers. They're just the same, but in green, alright? Just that you know. Pressing R, they will charge to a target location, just like Hecarim. You know Hecarim's ultimate? Perfect. So it kind of looks like that, but that's level 3, right? In the target location radius, all non-immobilized champions are getting knocked back. This is like the Xin ultimate. Xin Zhao is engaging and hits his enemy with an E. So the jump on enemy is not getting thrown out of his ultimate, but everybody else is getting thrown out. But in our case, we have horses, right? And horses can't just make a super big burst with a big javelin or something. But what do we have? We can knock back the enemies, like Azir's ult. So we knock back enemy champions that are non-immobilized. The knockback enemy champions will be hit by a silent arrow's bullseye. They get hit by 0 silent arrows bullseyes, by 1 or by 2, depending on the level of the R. Means if the R is level 1, you don't have any ghost archers that shoot for you. If you are having your R at level 2, there's gonna be 1 ghost archer, and if you're having your R level 3, you're having 2 ghost archers. There's gonna be a fixed damage of 140, 200 and 360 without any scaling, and it still has physical damage. Now, we know what happens to the non-immobilized champions, but what happens to the immobilized champions? The immobilized champions are getting their shields broke and they are getting slowed. They will receive damage equal to the amount of shield which has been destroyed. If they weren't shielded, they'll take a fixed amount of damage instead, which you can see here again. Also, all Insidious traps in the target location are exploding. Okay, that's a lot of things. Let's go over that again. All immobilized champions are getting their shields broke and slowed. So what you can do is, imagine you hit your silent arrow on the red enemy here. Okay? They are immobilized. You ult here, bam bam bam, bam bam bam, and all these champions around him are not getting knocked back like this, but they are getting knocked back behind him, just like that. Okay? So if this is the carry, the red one, he's gonna be alone, kind of alone, out of position, basically. Alright, so this guy is hit, you're right here, and 2 random enemies, no matter how they are, where they are, they're getting 2 silent arrows hits as well. So this guy gets hit by a silent arrow, and this guy gets hit by a silent arrow, right? I'm just gonna mark it by laying them down here, like this, and they are snared. So 2 enemies are snared, this guy is snared inside here, and he's slowed, and he's had his shield broke. Imagine this was Lulu, okay, this guy is Lulu, and Lulu shielded his carry, her carry, before he got full engaged. What happens? Lulu has Ardent Sensor, has all the shield and heal buffs on her abilities, and let's say she's giving his carry 450 shield, and this shield is gonna get broken, and her carry is getting 450 damage without any scaling, right? So just the shield is removed, we got the shield's amount of damage, and yeah, so you full engage this area, and these guys are getting knocked back. These are stuck by the silent arrows. It has a quite high cooldown as well. I think a little bit higher than Hagrim's in the beginning, and a little bit lower than Hagrim's in the end, because as I said earlier, I want this champion to be a flex champ and stronger in the late game than in the early game. Thanks for watching, guys. I actually do really hope that you understood how this champion is gonna work. The combination of the dodging gallops and the arrows and the traps, and what kind of potential and how high the skill cap actually is. So thank you for watching. Make sure you let me know what else you could do with this champion, or what you don't like and what you like. What I want you guys to do, I want this to be spread so Riot actually sees it. Because I want this fucking champion inside of League of Legends. Alright, never mind. This is the end of the video, guys. Thank you for watching.